welcome. It's great to be back in St. Louis. Lots going on, of course, across the system with our new leadership vote. Lots going on campus at UMSL. So I'm going to start by asking Chair Graves. Chair Graves, would you like to speak a bit about your coming second term as chair and about the elevation of Vice Chair Blitz?
Yeah, I'm very grateful that the board members voted to give me a second year as chairman, and Bob Blitz is from St. Louis is joining as the vice chairman this year. We've had a good run at many leadership levels: the presidential level, athletic director level, chancellor level, board level. We've had a real string of continuity of leadership. I think that's good for the university. I think that puts us on solid footing. And I think it creates predictability. And the one thing that's been predictable over the last number of years is that we've succeeded. And I hope and I plan for that to continue. I'm very grateful. This is important to me personally to do this, and I'm grateful for the opportunity.
President Choi, any comments on the leadership?
Well, I am very pleased to continue to work with Chair Graves. He's been a very visionary and effective leader, and I look forward to working with Curator Blitz, who, as Curator Graves said, has very strong leadership qualities, and so I look forward to working with him.
Fantastic. As I said before, so much going on at UMSL. So I would like to we're also joined, I should say.
So, Christopher, I would like to ask Chancellor Sobolik to talk about the School of Engineering, which is an exciting development.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Please, Chancellor Sobel. Thank you.
Yeah, we are very excited about launching our School of Engineering, which we did this particular fall. We have an inaugural entering cohort of over 60 students, and we are offering bachelor's degree programs in electrical, mechanical, and civil engineering. This is particularly important because we have had the corporations and our business community in the St. Louis region, but also in the state, really wanting to and needing to increase the number of trained engineers that we have. We have a lot of open jobs, we have a lot of need, and so as the region's only public research university, it's really imperative of us to make sure that we provide that high quality workforce and research innovation that this region needs for its increased economic growth and development.
Thank you very much. Any other comments before we open it up to questions?
Yeah, I'd like to note. I'd like to note that UMSL and congratulate Chancellor Sobolik has had its highest and largest level of philanthropy in its history this past year, including a gift tied to the first ever naming of the College of Business, the Ed G. Smith College of Business. Congratulations for that.
Yeah, thank you so much, Curator Graves.
Fantastic. All right, we're going to now have a few moments for questions. We're going to go one question per person at a time. So let's start with Grace from the Missouri.
Okay. Hi, I'm Grace. I wanted to ask you, President Choi, you had made mentions of commercial developments at Mizzou and in the Columbia area.
Mm-hmm.
I was just wondering if you're able to provide a little more clarity on what those opportunities are.
So thank you. Right now, we're in the RFI phase, and the committee that comprises of members of the administration as well as board members will meet to discuss those opportunities. But I can say that we received a number of very exciting concepts for public-private partnerships that involve retail, conference centers, entertainment districts, as well as housing. And we believe that the final outcome of a public-private partnership will result in Columbia becoming more of a destination. And for fans that come to our games or students that want to attend our university to have a much more refined experience in Columbia. Curator Graves, anything to add?
No, just that I think it's going to be a new era, and it is going to create more excitement, not only for fans for games, but opportunities for people getting health care in the Columbia region that are in town, and high school conventions, whatever. I'm hopeful. We're not driving the bus right now. We're looking for proposals, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what they are.
Thank you.
Excellent. Monica from the Post-Dispatch.
Hi, this is a question for either Curator Graves or President Choi. Federal research funding was mentioned briefly in your presentation, President Choi. Could either of you explain how much the UM system overall may have lost in federal research funding? Or how much is the system anticipating losing? And how can the system adapt to potential losses and replace that funding?
So the level of awards that we receive are down probably about 20% across the system, but it's not grants that were lost. It can always be made up. When people talk about grants that are lost, they think about research grants that have been awarded but then cut or taken back by the agencies. We've had very few of those cases, and some of those cases we made a strong petition to reinstate those funds, and they have worked in those cases. But what has happened in the federal government over the past several months is that they are reprioritizing areas in which they're going to be making investments. So part of the reason that there are lower number of awards that were received is that there were smaller number of RFPs. And as the federal government begins to release their priorities, I do expect that we will get more research grants at the university. Thank you.
Yeah, two things. One, we have a very long horizon that we plan for, and blips in the graph in a year or two, or those are things we expect. We'll have things like this. The government's realigning its priorities, but this country's not going to quit doing research, and the University of Missouri is not going to quit being a big and growing part of that research.
Excellent. And now from KMOP, any questions? All right, we'll run it back.
Okay.
Anything else?
Yeah, so you had mentioned that first year retention rates are down 3%. This year, and so that certain measures are being taken to address that issue. Could you provide any context for that?
Sure. There are many factors that result in students not coming back after the first year, and they include financial reasons. Other factors include students maybe changing their mind about their field of study, and if they come here to study, let's say, one particular discipline, but they find out that's not of their interest any longer, and that we don't have a program in which they want to further their studies. Another factor is just students just missing home, especially from out of state. And our retention rate for out of state students are lower than in-state students. So we're going to be addressing all of those factors to find out what are the programs that we can offer to retain those students. Are there more financial support that we can provide those students that are thinking about leaving because of financial reasons? And the last factor is students not meeting the expectations of our faculty and maintaining their grades. And so are there steps that we can take to identify those students, provide them the necessary support so that they can continue at our university? So it's multifaceted. Thank you.
I want to clarify something from my last question.
Yes.
Another question.
Yes.
So the 20% figure that you mentioned, Troy, just to make sure I have this correct. So that's 20% fewer awards?
Yes. So if I'm comparing fiscal year to date that began on July 1st of this year up until October 31st, and I compare that to last year, the same period, we're about 20% down across the system.
Okay. 20%, that may seem sizable, but you're not anticipating that staying that way.
No, we expect, because we still have 7 more months to go. 7 more months? No, 8 more months to go. And so we are writing more proposals, and as more RFPs are announced, we want to get a larger share of those grants.
But to clarify, our overall spending on research from federal sources is not down 20%,
That's
just
right.
this year's grant.
That's right. So our expenditures fiscal year to date is up compared to last year, fiscal year to date. And so, yes, you are right.
And I had a question about enrollment. I
Mm-hmm.
was just checking during the meeting. It seems like the system's enrollment overall has remained fairly constant,
Yes.
around 68,000.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But from last fall to this fall, there was about an increase of 1,000 students across the system.
Mm-hmm.
That's something we're seeing at other universities in the St. Louis area.
Mm-hmm.
They're reporting enrollment gains
Mhm.
after just now recovering from the pandemic. Very broadly, what do you think societally could have led to more students or more people choosing to go to school now as opposed to 4 or 5 years ago?
So I would have to see a to answer that question broadly for the state of Missouri. I would need to see what the 28-day census numbers look like across all of the universities in the state of Missouri. That data is going to come out on December 3rd or December 4th before the DHE board meeting. And if I am going to predict, if I were to predict what's going to happen in those data, I think it's going to show that overall, the number of students that are attending public, private, 2-year and 4-year universities will be down because that's been the trend. So if you're seeing an increase in the St. Louis area, um, I would like to know what's causing it. I don't know the answer to that, but I would think that it's going to be down because that's what we're seeing nationwide because of the number of high school students that are graduating, reaching a peak or have peaked, like in places like Illinois. And also, higher education in general is not perceived very positively by the public. So we're seeing a smaller fraction of the high school graduate deciding to attend a 2-year or 4-year university. Thank you.
Are there any other questions for anyone here on the panel? Either.
Okay.
Yeah, please.
Okay, I had a question for Chancellor Slickwick. You had mentioned council's efforts to re-energizing campus life, and I wrote that down because I thought that was so interesting. Could you elaborate more on that aspect? I mean, I know there's been several projects, but as part of the campus life and re-energizing it, how is UNCLE trying to make its campus more welcoming or enticing?
Absolutely. So we're 63 years as a university, and we started out with no dorms. We were considered more of a transfer institution, and so people would come to here to the university after community college. They have jobs, that type of thing. But once we started developing a more robust, I would say, first time to college population, we have dorms now. We are really focusing on the vibrancy of the student environment. So I would say the more traditional student environment. And in our ability to do that, to create a more consolidated space with renovated buildings, we have the great student center here, the Recreation and Wellness Center. As we've added to that vibrancy, our traditional, I guess I would say, population has really expanded, and we want to increase that. Right now, our dorms are full right now. We have wait lists, and so that's a great, in essence, problem. So we're looking at expanding our, our on-campus presence, but also our online or in-person living situations as well. So it's all about increasing what students want and expect so that they are retained here and want to stay at the university and graduate.
Very good. Do we have any concluding comments, President or Chair?
No.
All right, well,
Thank you.
This ends the press conference. Chancellor Slickwick is going to answer some questions from KMOV. You all are invited to listen in, if that's okay. With KMOV, go listen in, answer any questions. Thank you. We'll do that in here. Thank you all.